Justin, let's talk about something that's becoming more in demand is being able to use AI for contracts and agreements. Of course, we're not holding ourselves out as lawyers or anything else, and you need to make sure you run final contracts with a real professional.
That's right. And nothing is getting cheaper, at least not right now. And so, with many small businesses, especially those who are in a crunch, expanding or something of that nature, being able to save every dime you can is important. And so, the last thing you want to do is spend unnecessary time in a legal office or somewhere paying for consults for something you really don't need. How something like ChatGPT or Claude can help is if you know enough about your company, your goals, and what you're trying to achieve, you can use these Gen AI tools to start drafting things like contracts, waivers, and other legal documents. Now, having said that, you don't want to put these documents in circulation that came right out of a language model. However, the time and money you save could be monumental. And so, for an example, someone who knows well enough what a contract should look at like, but they need one drafted can do a good enough job. But at the same time, they can ask something like Chat GPT, taking this into consideration, provide any blind spots I may not be aware of. And that would strengthen that contract. Or a famous story I like to talk about with contracts goes back to the original Star Wars: A New Hope, where you look at Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill. Harrison Ford took the payout, whereas Mark Hamill took more of a percentage and actually ended up making out better on the deal because the franchise was successful. And so things like that can actually help strengthen a contract and really reduce your liability or chances of getting into any legal action. And it does good enough job that when you take it to your attorney, they can either say, "Hey, look, this is really good. I didn't think about this," or you may want to ease back on this. However, it's going to be more of a proofreading and final stamp than it is going to be, "Hey, give me a few hours to draft this up."
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to slip in there grant writing to get started. Using these tools, we have trainings on both of these, but just get in there and say, yeah, I want you to help me create a grant for, and then let's say ChatGPT or one of the other large language models to have a dialogue with you. Ask me questions, see what I need, review this information, and start getting a dialogue going on creating a grant. Say, here's the goal of the grant, here's what I want to do, here's what I know. Then I want you to ask me questions one at a time, pause for me to answer them, and then once we both agree we have enough information, generate the grant, and then you've got at least a draft to start with.
And it's very similar there too is looking at waivers. And so if a restaurant wants to break out into catering or even wants to break out into maybe events to where they can cater and provide, blow up houses or things like that, they can take something where it says, here's what I already offer, here's what I'd like to offer, and provide any blind spots again. Or, you know, ask me a question once at a time so that way I can answer. So then what it does is going to analyze your responses and provide a waiver that should be pretty close to foolproof. And again, there may be things up there such as if the bouncy house pops, how can you be liable for any injuries that you may not have thought of? And so again, the biggest strength of these tools in this situation is finding things that maybe we have too much going on in our minds or we may have never experienced, and using that to cover any legal basis. Again, I just want to reinforce, you should never take this right out of the language model and go ahead and put it on a form. You should always seek legal counsel before putting it into practice.
And you can take something old you already have that's a PDF and upload it and say, analyze this to make sure I haven't, there isn't anything missing, or do you notice something missing? And if so, let me know what it is. That it's amazing how many people find, well, we've been using this for several years and didn't realize we didn't include this. There's a
Mhm.
vulnerability. Then go to your attorney and say, is this true? Do we need to rewrite this and change it? Don't forget you can have a dialogue with this system. Remember, it's your digital assistant that you're working with. The more you understand how it works and its benefits, the more results you'll get from it. Well, that's the tip I wanted to give them for this week. Justin, I think that's excellent. I do want to say we offer training on these things, going into a deep dive. I'd love to hear from you all how you're using it in these areas in your business. And don't forget to click subscribe and the bell and check the text below for other resources. Justin, thanks. This was another great tip.
It's always a pleasure.